Every 14 to 19 years, Jupiter, the god of opportunity and luck, gracious expansion and good things happening in our sky, meets up with Chiron, the wounded healer, and does something fresh and new for each of us that has to do with what we need to heal and what the world needs to heal at large. The last time they met together in the sign of Aries was 1976. We're going to talk about what to expect for the collective as this is about to unfold in our sky on a March the 11th, 12th exactly, but we're going to feel it all the way through until the end of the month of March. And what this might mean for you individually based on your rising sign. You can also listen for your sun and moon. So let's get rolling and talk about this new sky story. And you know what? When Jupiter does anything, he is a benefic planet, but also Chiron, we don't know how to make sense of him as much, right? The sort of modern day body that doesn't fit with traditional astrology, the centaur, the wounded healer, the mentor of healers and heroes. And so I'm going to make some guesswork out of this. But one of the things I have seen is patterns in the sky from previous times this has happened. So we'll be addressing that as well. So if you're new to my channel, my name is Lori Lothian and I'm a whole sign house Hellenistic astrologer. I'm using the Western tropical zodiac. Everything you need to know about me is in my description box below this video. My Sky Reader course is going to now start in April, and I'll be opening the doors in the month of March. If you want to get on the wait list for that, get early bird discounts, and even just get in to that 8-week course in order to time your best life, be your own astrologer, time your best life, you want to sign up for the wait list. And also everything else I'm doing. My newsletter that comes out gives special codes and discounts, contests, and giveaways for my weekly Cosmic Moonshine newsletter. Check it out. Check out Patreon, $5 a month. All this content is ad-free. And you get to see me twice a month for $5 a month in a live private Zoom call with the group. Let's get going now and talk about Chiron and Jupiter. I've been thinking about this one for a while. I almost didn't do a video on it, guys. It's like one of those things where I'm like, I'm a traditional astrologer, but I'm going to go with it. So Chiron wasn't just this archetypal sacrificial being. He had a wound that he couldn't heal. He got, stung by an arrow from a poison arrow, and he couldn't heal his ankle apparently, or his leg. And then he was suffering because he was immortal. And then he sacrificed his life by rescuing the guy that was chained to the rock. His name escapes me. And then he was given some kind of like special immortal status as a heavenly star or something. See, like I'm not really into the Chiron story. I have to really refresh my memory. But nonetheless, I have seen it in people's charts, over 4,000 client readings, 5,000 charts or whatever in the last few years. That is a place where we're particularly wounded. It's like some part of us feels that this is like our fatal flaw. It's a place where we're the weakest. We know that there's a struggle here. And usually, though, the ironic part is that the very thing that we struggle with is the remedy or the cure for something else. That's why I'm going to call this video The Big Cure, but there's so much more to that than that part of the story. But at the very basic level, Jupiter will come into contact with Chiron in Aries and will maybe expose us individually and collectively to something that needs to be healed, cured, or remedied, and in our own life as well as for the world. So let's talk about some broad themes first, and then we'll narrow it down to your sign. This is going to be a short video. It's not going to be any longer than an hour, I promise. So here we go. First of all, I noticed by looking at history, first of all, Jupiter and Chiron will come together every 14 and 19 years, but in different signs, right? So in 2009, they did come together in Aquarius, and that was a time in May, June, and December of 2009. It was very long because there was a retrogradation that they kept hooking back up, Chiron and Jupiter and Aquarius. But it was a time when we had the swine flu. Now, Aquarius is an air sign, airborne illness. Aquarius, Chiron's the healing of something that wounds us, and Jupiter, the expansion of it. And there was a vaccine, I think, made for the swine flu, but I don't know if there was, but whatever. And the whole point in that 2009 window of time, the swine flu, turned out to be no big deal. Turned out in hindsight to be relatively innocuous. But also we had in the United States, the beginning of the Affordable Care Act to make, healthcare affordable for the United States, Americans. So things like that benefit Aquarius, the people, that something has to be cured or healed that was a problem. Okay, so that makes sense. And Chiron was a healer, and the Affordable Care Act is about healing. Those are just two examples. But in 1976, that was the last time Chiron was in Aries with Jupiter. It does go back in time to 1821, 1773, and 1726, in which Chiron Jupiter collided in Aries. I'm not going to go back that far. I'm just going to go back to 1976 and talk about some major stories in the news in March of 1976. as these two came together in the sky. Number one, maybe counterintuitive. Jupiter is king or a leader. Chiron is wounded king or leader. We could maybe expect some news stories in that time frame, sometime in March of this year, maybe close to the 11th and 12th, but you can bracket a week before and maybe 2 weeks after. It's all in play, where we hear of something to do with a wounded leader. Now, back in 1976, there was an assassination attempt, and I'm going to read that to you because I'm not a historian, and I pulled it up. And which leader was this almost assassinated? On Lebanon's Prime Minister Rashid Karami, there was an assassination attempt then, and it had to do with, of course, the war, the Syrians and Lebanon. And okay, so you could see news of a wounded warrior, leader. And Chiron was the mentor of heroes and healers. But when we talk about the heroes, we're talking about him mentoring the warriors of the ancient world like Achilles. And so what wounded warrior leader story could emerge into the collective? I mean, we got some warrior leaders out there now. I guess we got Putin and Biden and Zelensky, Xi Jinping in China or whatever. So any of these things are possibly going to be newsworthy in the month. I hopefully not an assassination attempt. It doesn't have to be that. I mean, a wounded warrior, a wounded leader could be anything, with an illness coming down with something, but it's got to be in significant impact, right? Because it's not just any old thing. Remember, this hasn't happened since 1976. So we're looking at something with some magnitude. There was a whole bunch of stuff going on back then to do with comets and meteor showers. During this March of 1976, they saw a comet in the sky break apart into two pieces, Comet West. They also were noting there's a massive meteor shower hit China in the Manchuria area, and big chunks of meteor hit the ground. One was 3,500 pounds. That's a lot of meteor. Apparently, the area that it landed in was unpopulated, but had it been in a populated area, it would have been somewhat catastrophic. And the reason I think this could happen again, for some reason, or something like meteor showers, celestial objects, is that, the whole kind of Chironic, Jupiterian, fiery warrior Aries energy is like missiles, missiles going out. But these were like celestial missiles coming from the solar system. So again, then the other option here would be stories about wounding that will lead to healing from stories about flying objects like missiles instead of asteroids. Unfortunately, we could see something going on. Obviously, the hot spot in the sky is Ukraine. All we need is one bad story, one bad missile story, like a dirty bomb flying through the sky and landing in Ukraine or Russia's side of that battled zone. And we're going to see a major catastrophic gasp from the world as we have to pull back from the atrocity of anything like a nuclear device detonating. Okay? I hope that's not going to happen, but I don't know that I can say that with this Chiron Jupiter in the sign of the warrior Mars, that it is not possible. And for the first part of that, Mars is in Gemini, where there is the fighting between the brothers, the fighting between the twins. There's a lack of brotherly love, right? Mars has caused a stir between brothers since last August. He'll still be there until March the 24th. Therefore, this is happening while Mars is still feisty and hot and bothered in the twins, the sign of humanity, fighting amongst humanity. The twins are human-bodied beings, right? So we're looking at that story. I don't want to depress you because your own story is nothing like this. Your personal story is nothing like this stuff, but you need to know. The inquiring mind needs to know. Russia and Egypt broke up. They had the end of their love affair back in 1976, the month of March. Egypt said, we're no longer going to work with Russia. Apparently they were working together, and Egypt gave Russia access to its ports and this and that, and they broke up. So there was a breakup between two cooperating countries. Egypt and Russia. So you could see a fracturing or a breaking, a wounding around governing and leading forces, kings. Like, Jupiter could be like the sun, the kings, right? So the king of Egypt and the king of Russia had a falling out. So what kings that are normally allied may have a woundedness between them during the month of March 2023. some weird ass shit like this. In 1976, the seatbelt law was enacted in the United Kingdom that you had to wear a seatbelt if you're in the front seat of a moving vehicle. Or you should be in the back seat. It would have saved Princess Diana's life, but I believe it was only enacted for front seat driving. But nonetheless, seatbelt law makes sense because Jupiter is law and legislation, Chiron is what could wound us, and Mars's sign is moving vehicles, transportation, thingies going fast, like race cars, but also just cars and moving vehicles. And then lastly, there's also the first airline was indicted in the United States in a suit in New York State for the death of these people on a cargo plane incident. And it's the first time an airline was actually brought into a lawsuit for something that happened that killed people. So legal matters, Jupiter rules travel and air travel, Chiron the wound, but the healing is now we have safety laws because you could sue the airline, safety laws because, people could wear seatbelts, that kind of thing. And even finally, I'm getting some funny ones up here on my little notes down here. I wrote them down today on a piece of paper. Is Los Angeles was the first place in the United States, first place to put a home to office lane in. They didn't call it HOV or home to office, but in all of their highways, they decided that there was one fast diamond lane just for people who had multiple passengers, so that would speed up the clogs in the traffic. So that was a new idea. It's a wound around traffic. It's in the sign of Aries and Jupiter, lots of people traveling, but Jupiter legislation or new rules. And that's a fun one, for example, new rules about traffic. Okay. So those are just some broad thoughts of some of the things that I saw happen before. And again, I think the more important one is what leader, Chiron, Jupiter, could be wounded, but there's a healing anyway, because it's a healing and there's something good that comes from it. And Jupiter's a benefic at the end of the day. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and do all signs. We're not going to spend much time going through this. I want to talk about where you could be healed in your life, because Chiron and Jupiter haven't come together since 1976. Won't do it in Aries again until I wrote the date down. Crazy ass out there, 2070. So it's going to be, for a lot of us, a once in a lifetime story. Some of us were around in 1976, some of us weren't, but this is going to be an important story for everyone because of its rarity. So I'm going to show you the sky, and then we're going to go through all signs so you can see it for yourself. I also almost forgot to mention there's two asteroids conjunct Jupiter and Chiron, where they're meeting at 14 degrees of Aries, because I was just like, oh, we're hardly going to do this video, but no, I got to talk about it. So asteroid Diana, the huntress, she's a protector of women in childbirth. She's about the independent, fierce feminine who doesn't get married, doesn't have to have kids, and she's got huntress, right? She's got her bow and arrow. So we do have a bit of a female warrior archetype that's being healed here. And there is actually kind of a broad trine to the asteroid Sappho, which has to do with people who are lesbians, basically. So we can have some kind of healing around laws to do with, the lesbian or the homosexual culture or LGBT, culture and stuff like that. So there could be something shifting there. But it also could just be about something to do with the word warrior, leader, female, right? So archer, huntress. But also the other asteroid that I can never, ever pronounce, right? But I'm going to do my best, okay? This is the asteroid that's closer to the Jupiter and the Chiron conjunction. Is at 2 degrees, and it's called Leilea Kuhonua. Leilea Kuhonua. I need a Hawaiian person here in my comments to tell me how to pronounce that. Okay, but it's Leilea Kuhonua. Leilea Kuhonua. All right. So this is the asteroid conjunct Jupiter, conjunct Chiron within 2 degrees and 48 minutes. Diana is a little further out. She's almost 5 degrees. So I think this is the more important message, but I think they're both going to count because Jupiter definitely could use a 5-degree orb for something meaningful to happen. Anyway, this asteroid is about the Hawaiian myth that has to do with migratory birds longing to be near Earth. It makes me think of asteroids again. Searching for one's true home, being homesick for once what was, once what for what once was, even if it's only a product of the imagination, a longing to be where your spirit lives, helping others find home, return home, ET go home, bringing memories back with you and making it a part of your home, leaving home in order to better appreciate your home. So you get all this kind of home energy with this energy. So I'll try to bring that into the all signs in a meaningful way for you. Let's go ahead and let's start rolling on the all signs. And I am not starting with Capricorn, but anyway, you're going to feel this. As I said, it's like kind of exact on the 11th and the 12th and 13th of the month. It's pretty intense, but up to maybe a week before that, and certainly until the 28th of March, even the end of March, it's still in play. So it's just a longer time story than one day. That's why, you know, I encourage you to like let it roll through your chart and see where it takes you. You know, don't just judge it. Oh, nothing happened on the 11th or the 12th. It's not like that kind of transit. It's a slow moving, big moving, rare ordeal of some kind, or healing of some kind. So, you know, give it the whole month of March in essence. But yes, 11th, 12th, 13th is pretty precise. Let's start with Aries. All right. 8, let's go. I'm just going to do the rotating screen today because this is a quickie. So if you are an Aries like me, I'm an Aries sun and moon, but most particularly rising, especially if Aries rising is in the 14th degree or maybe 5 degrees on either side, or sun and moon secondarily, you're definitely getting a direct hit. My sun is at 14 degrees. So I'm getting this completely Chironic healing. Now let's be clear. Chiron got into the Aries zone of real estate back in February of 2016, doesn't leave until 2026. It's a longer healing of the energy of Aries, whether it's your sun, moon, or rising. I mean, because sun, it can be about purpose. A moon can be about home and nest and safety. Moon could be about mom. Sun could be about dad. That's why we use our rising sign. It's really just all about you. So for me, it's my son. Chiron's healing my son, not my dad. He's passed away. So no father figures left. So he's healing my career and purpose energies. And I'm undergoing a transition as Chiron is lingering over my sun lately. And also now Jupiter comes in with Jupiter, right? Expanding something, bringing some beneficence, some healing to something in the lives of Aries. But also, this is a place where you have to maybe consider, if Jupiter is meeting with Chiron, who's healing who? Is Chiron healing Jupiter? Is Jupiter like giving Chiron some good legal advice? So I think it's actually Jupiter getting a healing in an interpersonal way. Okay. So in other words, when we're talking about the world, yes, the wound of, or death or assassination of a leader or something. Sure. Okay. Maybe. Okay. Or a badly wounded leader who can't get rid of his pain. But in our individual lives, it's not like that. So it can be something like, let's look at Chiron as the healing archetype of something that's a profound healing that allows for a special gift to emerge in the identity of you Arians. But because Jupiter is involved and he's taking this energy on, perhaps the Jupiter houses are activated. Well, is there a healing in the house of book publishing, 9th house, foreign lands and travel? Maybe. Is there a healing in Jupiter's 12th house dominion of your addiction, self-undoing, self-defeating patterns? I bet your bottom dollar. Is there some profound healing around nest, home, family of origin, mother stuff? Your 4th house, because that's what Jupiter exalts? Possibly. So these houses for you, 4, 8, and 12 could be carrying forth the vibration of this Jupiter conciliatory moment with Chiron, where Chiron says, because Chiron being, you know, this amazeballs healer of the ancient world who could even raise the dead, tells Jupiter, here's some special juice. Go use it in your houses. And of course, Jupiter will eventually go to those houses, but he's reverbing to them, especially to the 9th, book publishing, foreign lands, foreign travel, 3rd marriages, meaning of life, your spiritual beliefs, and the 4th house of home, nest, mother, real estate, property, and ancestral line stuff, stories, and patterns. So all of this is kind of flowy and loved up and healing so that you can access a unique gift of some sort. You know, if you were born with Chiron in the 1st house, you would have a wound about your appearance, a wound about your identity. Maybe some of you Aries are feeling that, like, you know, a wounded sense of selfhood. But of course, this is coming for a healing, energetic expansion and growth thanks to Jupiter. Maybe you also could present to the world as Jupiter Chiron in the month of March, a leader, healer, a guide, teacher, a mentor, guru as well. So Taurus, sun, moon, and rising. Oh, and the homecoming. I mean, sorry, I got to go back. I'm going to avoid Diana. I think that may play out as war stuff. But the asteroid for homecoming, yearning for a home. I mean, if you're an Aries, you're yearning to go home to your true self. Something like that is trying to happen, and that's what I'm going to say. Yeah. All right, Taurus, sun, moon, and rising sign in your sky. You've got this energy of something that needs to be healed so you can access some special gifts and talents that are within the healing itself in your 12th house. This is definitely a place that's very subconscious to you because you can't see the house. It's behind, the blinders on your eyeballs. So it's an aversion. So this is where, maybe your dreams at night, meditations, downloads, shamanic journeys, reveries, but also just a sort of like a deeply unconscious place. So often that's why we do self-undoing addictions, bad habits, patterns, karmic curses even are in the 12th house. We don't see them clearly. Perhaps you're healing something deep, deep, deep at that level, especially for Taurus rising, all right? Taurus sun and moon secondarily. Particularly interesting as well to note, again, I remember mentioning this in the larger context of the earlier video with Mars, the Lord of the story. This is his house where it's happening, and he's busy in an earning, self-worth, self-value, and money house. And a lot of you people may be dealing with, a lot of you, Taurus rising especially, may be contemplating, dealing with, and pondering something to do with your financial situation and your own self-undoing, your own bad habits. My daughter is a Taurus sun, and she's thinking about how to friggin' budget her life out. Now, it's a sextile though, so maybe you're going to get some money from somebody, a Jupiter figure in your life through the 12th house, maybe because they're like sick in the hospital and they want to give you some money before they are not here anymore or something like that. Jupiter has dominion over some houses in your chart. He's really going to say, maybe I've healed this thing in the subconscious, deep, dark place of the sky that I can't see properly from my place in the first house. It's actually not a dark house technically, but in this place of obscurity. And I'm going to actually make sure that this pays out for you in positive healing ways going forward until 2070, but certainly going forward over the next 12 years, maybe. It takes Jupiter to go around the zodiac. He'll be giving you some blessings and some dispensations of goodness that are healed when it comes to the areas of your chart that have to do with great gains from your career, your 11th house, friends as allies and benefactors, and the actualization of your dreams and wishes. He will also maybe send some derivative benefits from this healing. You may acutely feel this in March, right? To your 8th house of chunky money, mortgages, taxes, loans and credit debts and stuff like that, and spousal shared resources. He may send you some exaltation love, allowing you to connect with siblings, aunts, uncles, cousins, or go on a journey or a trip somewhere that's going to really be very profoundly healing for you. Remember, this is probably all themes of the month of March, although they may play out in a longer arc over the next 12 years. Gemini, sun, moon, rising sign. Well, in your sky, we have this long-standing Mars transit through the house of you, bless you, since last August. So all Gemini rising in particular are experiencing this extraordinary rare transit. And so, a lot of you are telling me all kinds of client stories about feeling extremely aggressive or commanding or decisive or action-oriented in a way that's not qualitatively you. That aside, you suffer no fools gladly. That aside, you have this Jupiter healing in the house of larger groups of belonging. These can be your friends, social networks. Sometimes it's great gains from your career. It's the ability to tap friends for favors. It's your relationship to the elder sibling. Well, Jupiter is coming in with Chiron to maybe affect some kind of remedy or cure for problems you've had in that part of your your chart. So that is also to say, like, you may have had gains from your career, but were they great gains, Because why? Because Jupiter is saying you can take the actions and decisions to bring you the great gains that heal your great gains wounds. And you've been dealing with Chiron here now since 2019. So you've been asking yourself, is the juice worth the squeeze? Am I getting enough money out of this? Is enough reputation out of this? Is my career making me satisfied with the great gains I'm receiving? And career purpose energy is where Jupiter also owns that house. That's Pisces. And that means that maybe he can reverb in March some good career reputation gains for you in some fundamental way that makes you realize you've healed some kind of wound about the gains that you're capable of receiving. Now, he also does open up some kind of flow to your second house of earnings and cash and income and earned income and possessions and resources, because of course he exalts that house. Now, I could say that could be like a lot of cash flow and great gains from your career, both during the month of March, as if something is healed, so you can find your superpower in Chiron that allows you to be noteworthy of your great gains. And lastly, there's a healing in your significant marriage partner house, but also business and audience client outreach. All of this has some kind of lovely reverb in March, and it may be thematically a kind of divine blessing that's going to run the course over the longer arc of the story. Now, don't forget, and it's happened in 1976. And for those of us born then, we've experienced this kind of energy. And if you go back to March of 1976, you can ask yourself, if you're old enough, what was going on in your career back then. I was too young to have a career. I was in high school, but I believe it was when I was really running high grades and doing really well and winning writing awards and stuff like that. So it would have played out great gains from my career as a high school student. Alrighty, let's keep rolling. All right, Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising, especially rising sign, as I say every video I do, guys. What happens here is that if you're live in the premiere with me, live, and you haven't hit my like button yet, this is your chance to hit the like button. Thank you so much. Woo, to all of you, all my regulars, Feral Writer, Misbehaving, LA's Poor Misbehaving, I hope you're feeling better. LA Taylor, Mercury with a Message, Jupiter 8, Stephen the Jupiterian, love your names, guys. Herbal Empress, ooh, all of you. Some coolio names in there. Angie Jennings, I'm trying to remember the real names of real people. Thank you so much. And the Crystalline Alchemist, isn't that a fantastic channel name? Our Soul Songs, I love that name as well. These are my regulars that show up for the live premieres. If you're listening in the live premiere, please hit my like button. This is always pre-recorded, guys, because I send it to my Patreon community. This is March the 8th at this time when I'm recording. So, and then you get it later. So, back to the Nancy timestamp now. Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. For you guys, this is going to be some kind of, wounded healing energy, healing of the wound about your reputation, your visible career status, how you stand out in the world, people see you. I mean, Jupiter here can make you more leaderful, more successful. It's just a transit that's going to end in the middle of May, right? But Chiron is the wound that you've been feeling about being publicly seen or having a particular career path engaged where you're in touch with your deep purpose. The quality of having a deep purpose and alignment with your gifts and your career began to emerge in 2019 and continues to 2026. And now there's this kind of Jupiterian extra special juice here. My sister Nancy is a healer, healingwithnancylynn.com. She left her nursing career of 30 years in 2018, just as Chiron entered her 10th house, and she is a healer. So for some of you, Cancer rising is called to be a healer, a guide, a teacher, a mentor in your career. Jupiter expands that or also heals something in that area to, really push you forward. With Mars in your 12th house, maybe you're also learning to get rid of your own self-undoing, self-defeating habits and patterns, or how to capitalize on revenue from foreign shores in your deigned career path and success. You also will experience, maybe in the month of March, some love from Jupiter in the other parts of your chart. He exalts your body, your house of your body, your health, and your identity. He also loves you up in your 6th house, which has to do with your daily work and habits and routines and your health outcomes. So we get a couple, because a house is sickness, the 6th house, and the house of your body, a couple indicators that March can be positive for your health. And he's also going to, and the wounded healer, you may heal it through chironic means, shamanic journeys, extra special, non-ordinary healing, miracle healing. And then he loves you up in your 9th house of God. And this could be something to do with learning or studying and taking courses or teaching, or travel to a foreign shore, that all kind of flow out in the month of March. And if you're a Cancer rising who's into book publishing, then this could also open up some doors of success there in the month of March, because Jupiter, of course, is the owner of your 9th house, and he's getting some kind of divine healing energy through Chiron and some support from Mars in your 12th. Leo, Sun, Moon, Rising sign in your chart. You've got this story of Jupiter meeting with Chiron. Last happened in 1976, won't happen until 2070. Chiron's been here trying to help you find your true calling, maybe your truer purpose in life. Your spiritual beliefs and religious beliefs are getting refined. You're looking for gurus and wise mentors, guides, and shamans to help you. A lot of Leos have been doing that since 2019. Will continue to do that all the way through to 2026. Jupiter comes along now and works with Chiron to create some collateral benefits in other houses that he owns. Maybe Chiron is healing Jupiter. Jupiter is expanding energies and lucky energies too. So you could have some lucky breaks to do with foreign lands and travel, and some healing as well in your father and father figure relationships. A ninth house meaning from Indian astrology, Vedic astrology. Certainly legal matters and court matters, if you're a Leo rising in particular, can be healed here for you now. You can see that Jupiter may give you some extra juice for your eighth house of chunky money, loans, debts, mortgages, inheritance monies, taxes, tax rebates, and stuff like that, insurance payouts. He may also heal in the month of March and give you some extra love in helping you get rid of 12th house problems, including hidden enemies and your own undoing, self-undoing, and addictions. And he may also, Jupiter, say during the month of March, as this healing is progressing, you're going to have some sexual healing or some romantic healing or some healing in regards to relationships to your children, fifth house, or independent business enterprise. These are the ways Jupiter can dispense blessings collaterally. And with Mars in your 11th house, friends and allies can step up to really support you, to be of great benefit, or an elder sibling as well, as that Mars is trining Jupiter and Chiron in his very own house. Certainly it could bring you some successful momentum in finances and great gains from your career. Did I say trine? I meant sextile. Anyway. Virgo sun, and oh my God, you know what, guys? I need a massage so badly. I went to a massage the other day and my shoulders are rope. They are rope. Are you still watching in the live premiere? Please hit the like button. Helps my channel grow. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And then the other day, I somehow injured my knee. I mean, I really need to talk to Virgos about it because you guys are always the medical types and of service. But I don't know. I have to I'm just babying it right now. But all I can say, I was power walking a lot and there was no warning. And all of a sudden, I've got some limited range of motion knee pain. I'm like, no. Saturn has left Aquarius. Don't say it's not so. All right. Virgo, sun, moon, and rising sign. In your natal chart, what you've got going is a Jupiter Chiron conjunction in the eighth house of that chunks of money you get through your inheritances and spousal support and taxes, and it's all the money you don't earn, right? Or even royalty or residual income that comes passively at you from some other place while you're not paying any attention to it. Well, I mean, that's why J.K. Rowling has a stellium of planets in her whole sign, eighth house. Woman's a trillionaire because of all of her money she's made for her creativity. So in this case, you can see that Jupiter and Chiron are here. Chiron's been here since 2019, trying to heal some chunky money stories in your life. And you may also have been diving deep into the occult mysteries, studying with shamans and occult mystery teachers and finding your way, going down that rabbit hole for sure. And, you may find that with Jupiter coming here, Jupiter is getting some healing from Chiron. And with Mars in the 10th house, what kind of tension have you got around career purpose? Have you been experienced with Mars in your career house since August of last year? Tension in the workplace, fights with the boss, problems wanting to cut out, wanting to leave your work, thinking something's wrong at work, problems with a male at work. Okay, all this Virgo energy. All this Gemini energy for you guys, okay, up in the 10th house. And now there's healing around those themes, healing around 10th house challenges, career and workspace, and all of that. And Jupiter says also, I can wave out some blessings towards other parts of your chart. I can heal your marriage. I can make it really much better. Maybe also because we're being raw, vulnerable, and intimate with each other, because that's eighth house themes. Jupiter may splendidly in the month of March deliver some collateral healing benefits to your 11th, where he exalts everything. And that could be great excitement with friends or greater financial gain from your career. Maybe after all that tension, you get a raise or promotion. They want to up you up a notch, or you just get a lot more joy and satisfaction from your larger social groups and networks and friends who support you. And you'll have more joy and expansion and goodness in the month of March, perhaps in your fourth house of your home where you live. These Mars influenced homes, right? He's about these houses, 8, 11, and 4. So maybe you'll expand in your home, get a new home, add a new home, decorate a home, whatever, buy a home, sell a home, rent a new home. These are all possibilities in the month of March, but it's just a good, feel good vibe regarding home, regarding significant other relationship, regarding 11th house friends and allies. Okay. Yay. That's how I'm going with it anyway. It's my way of trying to spin who heals who. I think Chiron is helping Jupiter level up a bit. All right, Libra. So what happens here is you've got this Jupiter Chiron wounded healer thing going on in the marriage house. Now, you don't have to be married. It could be your clients. It could be your business partners. I know a Libra who's not married, but she's got a business partner. Okay. So like, is it that person? Is it your marriage partner? Is there woundedness? Are you trying to heal something? Are you partnering with shamans, gurus, and teachers? Because that could be what this is about. But certainly having this happen since 2019, Chiron in the 7th house is trying to heal your significant other relationships and come to terms with that. However, it also enables you to put yourself out in the world as a shaman, guide, or healer, mentor, because you can pitch yourself as that to the public when Chiron moves through your 7th. And you can bring amazing Chiron people to your life as well. With this position here of Jupiter coming together with Chiron, there's an expansion and a blessing at once, where there's a cure energy in the house of significant partners, business and love, as well as the way you reach out to clients and audience. Significant energy coming from Mars in your 9th house. Mars is saying, and up here, I'm going to support you in book publishing endeavors, court and legal matters all working out for your best good, healing around legal issues, visas, travels, and passports, and foreign shores can be very beneficial in the month of March if you want to get away somewhere, as well as anything to do with academia and teaching and learning. Now, Jupiter's collateral blessings, as Chiron gives him a healing quality here and heals something, maybe could benefit you in leases and tenancies and pets and debt relief. That's your 6th house, could benefit you as well in your 3rd house of trips and travel and teaching and learning, and can benefit you as well in your career and reputation space, as Jupiter is the exaltation lord of your reputation. So those things are yay you, I think, during the month of March after the healing happens, which is after the 12th of March, as we progress through the rest of the month. Scorpio, sun, moon, rising. Well, you definitely have some vibe going on here. Jupiter, Chiron affecting a healing in your 6th house. And, first of all, Chiron here since 2019 to 26, man, you might feel wounded. You don't belong in the workplace. You can't find your place of belonging and properness in work and the work you're doing in the world. You may feel like work is a wound for you. It's not the true work for you as a Scorpio rising, especially sun and moon secondarily, or you may have been having to deal with health challenges and look for chironic interventions, including shamans or non-ordinary healers since 2019. As Chiron is going through here, this wounded quality will be healed, of course, and it'll give you special gifts in a 6th house way, which is to be of service to the world with, something that you're up to, and to also have better health. Now, Jupiter, Chiron are talking to Mars in the 8th house. It can be a work and money story that's very positive for you. And so that's a possibility that March can produce that. But Jupiter Chiron also means that maybe Chiron's helping Jupiter heal something, and then Jupiter can deliver you some romantic love blessings, woo, or better relationships with your children, or even fertility. And then in the month of March, you could experience a glow up in your house of travel, foreign lands, courts, and book publishing, and academics, and father figures, and 3rd marriages. And maybe you can have in March glow up in your earnings and income and the money that comes in for you, resources and possessions. So let's see, let me know how month of March goes. Do you get glow ups in those houses of 2, 5, and the house 9? Certainly money luck happens in the 5th house, especially if you go to a casino or buy a lottery ticket. Don't do that because I told you to. But if you need to eliminate debt and Chiron is healing Jupiter, maybe you could spin that as some kind of influx of money luck that helps you eliminate some debt. I can see that happening for some Scorpios as well. Are you still watching in my live premiere and you haven't hit the like button? Then this is your chance. I'm recording this for my Patreon community on March the 8th, and I'll probably get it to you guys by March the 11th. This is usually, I'm even earlier for Patreon, sometimes a week or 2 or a month in advance, but they're certainly getting this content ad-free ahead of you for $5 a month, and they get to meet with me twice a month. And well, why don't you come check me out? You can subscribe anytime. If you don't like, unsubscribe anytime. If you don't like Patreon, they don't hold you to it. $5 a month, quit anytime. All right, moving on. Sagittarius rising, especially sun and moon secondarily. is a very healing energy in your fifth house for a long time now, since 2019. Chiron is working the wound of sexuality, wound of fertility and pregnancy, the wound around children and romance, the wound around joy, your joy spark. Where is your joy spark? Chiron's been trying to help you find it ever since 2019. And as Chiron's going through here for Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising, you've been trying to know where your muse is too, what really deeply inspires you to be excited and enthusiastic about life. Jupiter coming through here is a fertility transit. If you don't want a baby, he's here till the middle of May. If you want a baby, that's great. Man or woman, it doesn't matter, your partner, you could get pregnant. However, with Chiron here, there's some kind of Jupiter gets a healing. And with Mars in your seventh house, this could be sexual healing with your main partner, your committed love partner, and you are doing some deep sexual healing work together in the month of March. If that's not happening, then you could also have some good news coming from your business clients, your clients, your audience, or your business partner, especially given that the fifth house is entrepreneurial energy. Okay. If Jupiter's being maybe healed by Chiron, could he possibly dispense some blessings? He sure could. To the month of March for sure, reverbing out to your eighth house of chunky money, where he exalts you, getting a tax rebate that surprises you, getting a great mortgage, being able to pay off a credit card, having your spouse get really rich suddenly. Things like that can happen here. Then he also could offer some blessings in the house of your body, your identity, yourself, good for your health, good for your body, good for you feeling better about yourself. You know, it's a flow trine to your body anyway. So you're feeling super duper much better about you. And then lastly, in the month of March, you get some possible real estate, land, property, residential life, private life blessings, as there's the fourth house is Jupiter's house. He's just been there. Now he's talking with Chiron. He could look back over his shoulder and say, oh, let's heal that property, real estate, land, home, house wound. And I don't know what that looks like for you. It could be many things. Neptune's there and Saturn. So I didn't draw everything in, but maybe you're going to find your forever home. And that's something that Chiron, Jupiter can be healing for you, because you want something that brings you sparks of joy, enthusiasm, and pleasure. And that's what is trying to happen in your life anyway. So why not go with it? And pleasure and joy are not the same. Okay, I should qualify that. You're still watching in the premiere and you haven't hit the like button. Do that. Thank you. All right. This is going to be quick. We're racing through because this was going to be a quickie from the very beginning. What time is it? Got to go to a friend's I'm taking a friend to dinner for his birthday. It's my boyfriend from when I was in university, who was with a woman for, oh my gosh, I don't know, 15 years, who passed away in an automobile accident last fall, who was a friend of mine as well. So it's like, yeah, we'll probably talk a lot about lots of stuff tonight. So let's go ahead, Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. In your chart, what you have here is something to do with a fundamental chironic transit since 2019 to 26 through your fourth house of home. But this is the house of the mother and your childhood and your homeland and your family of origin. And, you know, it's possible, like, if you're born with this, you don't belong. I don't belong. I'm a changeling. I'm a white sheep, black sheep of the family. I just don't belong. Okay. There's an unbelongingness to your tribe, your culture, your family of origin. If you were born with it, you're not born with it. I don't know what you're born with. I mean, most of you Capricorns are not born with Chiron in your fourth house. All right. But I guess the gist of what I'm trying to say is that maybe you've been feeling this unbelonging woundedness quality since 2019, and you're trying to resolve it. Certainly Jupiter can help you. The big cure, right? The big cure is here. And you may also be a big cure because you buy a property, sell a property, change your home. How do you cure this fourth house wound? Tell your mother off. Decide you don't believe anything they told you in your childhood. All right. Decide you're going to belong to yourself and not to anyone else. There's a great David Whyte poem that really goes with Chiron in the fourth house. It's called the house of my belonging. And I would swear, if you're Cap Rising, read it, because that's the whole vibe of what's going on down there. Mars is what's happening in Mars's house, right? So he's over in Gemini in your sixth house. That has to do with debts and rental and tenancies and pets and health and work routines. And there's a flow now coming into being here between those two elements of your sixth house and your fourth house. Like this could be as simple as an ergonomic chair, but it could be as profound as moving to a place where when you do the work you do, you're healthy and well and happy and joyful or something. Getting or renting the perfect property or something like that. I mean, tendencies in stuff can be sixth house, so it may be a rental story. And energy wise, Jupiter can take the healing Chiron's giving him, and maybe I'm just hypothesizing here, hypothesising. My hypothesis is that maybe you're going to get some exaltation in your marriage house blessings, where you're all of a sudden madly in love with the one you're with, or you've always wanted to be madly in love with the one you're with, and Jupiter's going to bring you the perfect mate when in the month of March, maybe, or just as a new quality of the eighth house, seventh house, it can be unfolding over the next few years. Who knows? Because, this is a thing that won't happen again until 2070. So it could be like the new pattern. Wounded Jupiter says, now I give you exaltation in your seventh house forever and ever, amen, until 2070, meaning better partners in business, more love in your love life, more better long-term mates, more spectacular outreach to clients, audience, and other. Jupiter can also say, let me help you with your third house, heal the sibling wounds, heal the aunts, uncles, and cousin wounds, find a way to, find the perfect neighborhood and heal that I don't like my neighborhood wound, heal the wounds to do with what you wish to write or learn. And then finally he says, yeah, and you got all those addictions up there maybe, and then you keep drinking too much wine, smoking too much weed, or you keep getting stuck in your own self-defeating thought patterns, karmic sludge. Maybe what we're getting done here is some kind of release from all of that, especially in March, but maybe as a new pattern over the next, most of our lives, 2070. Alrighty, I hope that's useful. Capricorn, let's keep going. I'm next, Aquarius rising, especially Sun and Moon. You can listen secondarily. So first of all, my necklace is making clacking sounds, so just let me drop it down my bra. If you are somebody who is an Aquarius rising, we have been through the Saturn through our first house for 3 years, and he just left on March the 7th. So let's all applaud us. So we don't feel as heavy and burdensome, dutiful, responsible, and maybe I can finally get the knots out of my shoulders that have accumulated over 3 years of this transit. So the good news is now we're looking at something else entirely. We're not even going to talk about Saturn right now. We're going to talk about Jupiter and Chiron in our third house. So the chironic element, maybe a wound, has been moving through our third house for a long time. Now, Chiron is about mentoring, guiding, teaching, healing, and maybe you've attracted a lot of guides, mentors, teachers, and healers through the online world over the last, since 2019. I certainly have. But you may also be unwinding a wound that has to do with your ability to communicate, to write, to do your online world properly, to relate to your extended family or siblings in a way. And this chironic wound says 2019 to 26, maybe the healing, and this could be the time of the big cure. Jupiter is definitely going to change something here as a benefic planet. And there's Mars energy in our fifth house, which is our sexuality, our romance, our children relationships, and fertility, and independent business enterprise. So, for a lot of Aquarians, it can be a very powerful shift around how you do your independent business in the online world. It could be a transition to a very healing and profoundly positive romantic love story. It can be a movement toward changing your intersection and dynamic way of dealing with any or all of your children, but especially a firstborn child, but all your children in general. Jupiter is all about learning, and Chiron is about mentoring and healing and teaching. And this is a learning house. It's possible that in the month of March, some of you will come into a guide, shaman, mentor, teacher, healer type person, maybe in your local neighborhood, third house, or in the online world, your virtual neighborhood, that has a very positive impact on your life during the month of March. With Jupiter getting maybe healed by Chiron, hypothetically, because Chiron is this healer and Jupiter's just a god, So let's see what happens. Maybe Jupiter's going to adopt a new stance of positivity and the big cure to the houses he owns for you. He owns your income house, like earned income, your second house, ka-ching, ka-ching. He exalts your house of sickness, your day-to-day work habits and routines, and the workspace that you work in, tenancies and pets. And also debt and dating. Lots of stuff going on in the sixth house, right? So all of those things are very, very healed. And going forward, let's say in the month of March, but maybe until 2070, that's going to be a place of great blessings. I've wanted a new pet for so long now, but I don't have the right time, place, to get that. But I would love to have a new pet, probably a cat this time. I think I'm done with dogs. Although I love dogs. And Jupiter also will bless your 11th house of great gains from your career. And maybe March starts to show you that's true. And maybe that becomes a new pattern. Maybe you're going to suddenly find yourself really flowing financially from both your career and your earnings stance, as well as your larger groups of belonging and social networks and allies and friends really stepping up and being a more important part of your life, and in a very new way, in a very healed, big cure way than you've ever experienced before. So look for blessings in those 11th house, second house stories, and also, of course, your sixth house. 11 and 2 are money stories. Sixth house is kind of karmic, but it also connects to work and work habits and routines, as well as better health. Okay, I hope that's true for us Aquarians. And I think a lot of this will reverb throughout March, but become a new sort of standard bearer theme for the next, how many, 2070 minus this year, for the next 50 years. All right, so first and always first are the Pisces, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign people. And I can't believe I still listen to astrologers say last but not least, because I get in trouble for saying that with you guys, and I don't do it anymore, but a lot of other astrologers are still doing the old cliche. By the way, still listening to the premiere, the last call for hitting my like button. Thanks, guys. Well, so for you guys, you have this kind of chironic wound in the earnings house since 2011. If you look back, you may have found that your resources and earnings have been a challenge point as you look for a more meaningful, true to your soul, unique, original medicine that you're here for, a way of making money. If you're born with this transit, I have Chiron I'm born with Chiron in my second house. This has put me in life on the nut to always find meaningful, deeply soulful, truthful, original medicine ways to make money. So it also can be about eating disorders. And at one point when I was a kid, I was so skinny that, I tried to gain weight and I became like a pieaholic, man. Weird things like that can happen. But this is not your story, my story. This is your story. And so Chiron here too, since 2011, for some Pisces rising, especially Sun and Moon secondarily, may have dealt with food style issues, trying to find the perfect food style, trying to heal themselves to what they put in their mouth, including not too much weed, not too much wine, better food, better health styles. So money and health and food and face and teeth and mouth, all that stuff being healed since 2011. I mean, seriously, some of you might have just got braces since 2011 sometime. But Chiron is doing something deeper. He's trying to key you into, it looks like a key, your truest purpose in life and your true calling in life, your unique purpose in life. And Jupiter is going to turn the corner on this with the big cure, as I'm calling this video, I think. So you're really stepping into your true calling, your true purpose. You've been muddled around forever with, Neptune going through the house of you since 2011. Oh, yeah, and Chiron, in your second house is 2019. I apologize. Back it up. I'm not going to do the edit. You've had Chiron in your second house since 2019, not 2011, but you've had Neptune in your first house since 2011. Now Saturn's joining him, helping you make your dreams come true and get really real and sober and realistic about your fantastical hopes for your life or what you want to vision into being. And this chironic wound that started in 2019 about your money, about your earnings, about your food and food styles, about your face and your teeth, that's also being given a turning point now. Mars is in the fourth house. It could be having you move your home, change your home, but there's a healing that goes with it. It's good for your finances. It's good for you. And you may also be, constructing or decorating or changing a home in a significant hammer and nail way. But this is also very good for your money, good for your soul and your soulful purpose. Building that office that you really needed, right? That extra space, taking the actions to get that going. I think that the big story here might be, of course, like I said, for all signs, that Jupiter has now been given a chironic healing of some kind, and he's in charge of certain houses. Your body, your health, your identity. He can bless you there over the month of March, but maybe really from now till 2070 with this new sort of, all is well in my first house of my body, my identity, my sense of selfhood. And maybe he can also bless you in your fifth house of children and sexuality and romantic love. And you could find there's a new era opening up in your life regarding those themes. And your children and pregnancy, fertility, independent business independent business enterprise. Your spirit of creativity can open up. You can find out you can play the flute. You're really an artist. You know how to dance. You find your joy spark in being creative and entrepreneurial. And you may also open up a whole new gateway, a whole new world to your 10th house of career and reputation, because this is the big cure in the house of voice, vocation, calling, and earnings. And it's Jupiter's in your 10th house. Your 10th house Lord says, yeah, well, how about a whole new career, a whole new reputation path that you might enjoy? And with Jupiter in your second house, it could be very bountiful for you. Okay. I hope that's useful for you. Thanks everyone for listening. If you're new to my channel, don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications. That means you won't miss a thing, especially when I do my free giveaways now every 5,000 subscribers. I was doing them every 1,000 subscribers, but now it's too many times. I'm having too many contests and I can't keep up with the giveaways. So it's every 5. So I'm at 21 something today as I record. When I get to 25,000 subscribers, there's a huge giveaway in a live premiere, and you want to know about when I'm going to do that. And you can find out about those prizes and big giveaways. I sometimes give away 10 prizes by being on my newsletter, Cosmic Moonshine for sure, or by being in my Patreon community, or just by hitting the bell for notifications and paying attention to all the posts I make in my communities tab. All right, because that's when I say big contest coming up, join me live tomorrow, that kind of thing. All right, community tab is useful if you want to keep up with me as well, and you don't want to sign up for anything off this platform. I'm done. Oh, my shoulders, guys. I'm always wearing off the shoulder, right? I'm so that's me, but I don't know what it is. I must have had something going on in another life where I had to wear some kind of heavy garb on my shoulders. What would that be? A pope, maybe? Oh my God, I need to stretch. Thank you for listening. Thanks for being in my live premiere. If you're here with me, all the regulars, blessings to you. Everyone have a wonderful March. And I think the next video I'm doing will be the moon video, which will be the Aries new moon coming up this month at 1 degrees of Aries. 1 degrees of Aries. Yeah, 1 degrees of Aries. Wait, is it this month? I'm losing track of my moons. Yes, it is. All right, ciao, ciao. Thanks, guys. Hang in there. Be well. Find the good sweetness of that healing energy. It's trying to do something good. And none of us is going to be assassinated. We're not the wounded king, unless you happen to be listening to this, and you are. Zelensky, Putin, Xi Jinping, is that how you say his name? Biden. If you guys are listening, watch out. You want to take extra caution during the 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th of March. Be careful about your health or your body and your body's wellness. All right. Ciao. I don't wish bad things for any world leader, no matter who they are.